Okay, Warden Smith, I believe you can start the meeting anytime you like. Thank you.
Just one moment. Just have to grab the link for Jody.
That's okay. There's a delay, so.
There we go. So I'd like to start the meeting by calling the meeting to order. The first order on the agenda is I'd like to acknowledge we are on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq Nation. And the next item on the agenda would be a moment of silent contemplation. All right, I'd be looking for approval or the amendments to the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor, right hand.
Aye.
Put the hands up and leave them up so we'll know. I'd be looking for approval of the minutes of May 19th and the May 27th, 2020 regular meetings of council.
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, motion is passed. The next item would be correspondence for information. It's been posted for your information. Does any councillor wish to raise any of the correspondence for discussion? Seeing no one, we'll move on for correspondence for decision. I believe there's one item. So the item on the agenda is the Old Elmsdale School site plan. Everybody had a chance to read through this? Councillor McGuinness?
Thank you. Through the chair, I would move the recommended motion.
Seconded.
Been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any further discussion?
Question.
Question been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed. The next item would be corporate and residential services. Councillor Rolston.
Okay, the committee held its regular meeting on June 16th, 2020 electronically via Zoom. The following motions are coming forward as a result of the meeting. Temporary borrowing resolution. Council approved the COVID-19 property tax program policy on May 19th, 2020 to assist property taxpayers negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Staff are requesting a temporary borrowing resolution for future borrowing to offset loans provided to taxpayers that qualify for the program. The short-term loan will be over a period of 3 years at an interest rate of 1.1% provided through Municipal Finance Corporation. The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends to Council that Council seek ministerial approval for a temporary borrowing resolution related to the COVID-19 property tax financing program in the amount of $5 million to provide tax relief through short-term loans to taxpayers impacted negatively by the COVID-19 pandemic. And that the Corporate and Residential Services Committee, recommend to Council that Council give pre-approval to borrow up to $5 million for a term not to exceed 3 years and at a rate not to exceed 1.1%. And that the Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends to Council that Council give pre-approval to temporarily finance from reserves up to $2.5 million if subscription to the program is less than $2.5 million, or if the program subscription exceeds $5 million up to $7.5 million. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Seeing none, the question's been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary, motion is passed.
Year-end memo report 2020. Part of the year-end preparations for audit is the analysis of the municipality of East Hants operating and capital funds. Several year-end entries are required to prepare the financial statements. These are unpredictable and/or the exact amounts are unknown at budget time. On the capital side, funding source amounts require adjustment for 2 projects. All adjustments being recommended are either unavoidable or prudent to make and can be considered by council to be unsubstantive in nature. The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends to council that council approve the year-end adjustments to the operating and capital funds as presented in the staff report dated June the 10th, 2020 at the Executive Committee meeting on June the 16th, 2020. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Seconded.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary, motion is passed.
Council procedural policy changes. Over the years, council periodically discussed the possibility of live streaming public meetings and considered options. For a variety of reasons, council had decided not to proceed further until recently. The last discussion on this topic was held in March of 2020, and staff were instructed to investigate options to record council and committee meetings internally and report back to committee per motion C-2071. The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommend to council that council direct staff to prepare changes to the council procedural policy as follows. Live streaming. Recordings of all meetings of council to remain on the municipality's YouTube channel for 3 months until such a time that council begins meeting in person again and has the opportunity to restart the discussion about broadcasting and recording in-person meetings. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, motion is passed.
The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends to council that council direct staff to prepare changes to the council procedural policy as follows. Audio recordings of in-camera meetings are to be destroyed after 3 months, and any recordings older than 3 months that currently exist shall be destroyed. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Seeing none. Questions been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is passed.
The Corporate and Residential Services Committee recommends to council that council direct staff to prepare changes to the council procedural policy as follows. The posting of staff reports to the public website. Staff reports will be posted following the executive committee / council meeting with the meeting minutes. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is passed.
And just for clarity, that would mean those reports would be published after executive and before regular council. As chair of the committee, I move the adoption of this report.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question been called. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary, motion is passed. Next item on the agenda would be the Infrastructures and Operations Report. Councillor Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. The committee held its regular meeting on June 16, 2020 electronically via Zoom. The following motions are coming forward as a result of the meeting. Number 1, Highway 214 Capital Project I0-041 Sewer Upgrade. The province is now in a position to complete some restoration work of the road surface of Highway 214, which includes some of the area required for the sewer upgrade work. To minimize the disruptions, it is being recommended that the municipality proceed with a portion of the capital work project within the province's work area this fiscal, as opposing to waiting. This would not complete the sewer upgrade project in full, but proceeding with any portion of the capital scope of the project as a phase one. It is a commitment to completing the full project in the near future. The Infrastructure and Operation Committee recommends to council that council approve to commit to proceeding with the full scope of project I-010-041 sewer upgrade Highway 214 funded by gas tax and as listed within the updated capital project form as attached to the executive committee agenda of June 16th, 2020. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing
Question.
none, question's been called. Go to vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is passed.
Item number 2, municipal engineering standards update. Staff are proposing updates to the municipal standards for water, wastewater, and transportation. The current standards have not been updated since they were implemented in 1999. The updates reflect current practice and will result in more sustainable infrastructure. Future updates will include stormwater, lot grading, and street trees. The Infrastructure and Operation Committee recommends to council that council approve the proposed updates to the municipal standards as attached to the executive committee agenda of June 16th, 2020. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Been moved and seconder. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is passed.
As chair of the committee, I move the adoption of this report.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question called. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is passed. The next item on the agenda would be Park, Recreation, and Culture. Councillor Rhino.
Okay, my internet is not working very good. I'll try to read it. If anybody has anything to say, please shout it out because a lot of the time I'm seeing hands and they're up there for 5 minutes. So anyway, the committee held its regular meeting on June the 16th, 2020, electronically via Zoom. The following motion is coming forward as a result of the meeting. The tourism grant application, East Knoll Heritage School Host Society. The municipality received a tourism grant application from East Knoll Heritage School Host Society. March 2020 staff also received a community grant application as a committee meeting in April 2020. Had been received and may be brought forward under the. So from that, the Parks and Heritage Schoolhouse Society in the amount of $1,500.
Keith is frozen.
Yeah, I think we've got a problem with internet.
We have the vice chair here anywhere?
That would be me.
Do you have said report?
You want me to do it right from the beginning or?
Yeah, I think you'll have to.
The move,
At least-
Councillor Rhino is back.
Is that working again, Keith? We lost you when you were making the motion.
Yeah, somebody better take it up there, Jim. This is not good here.
All right, the deputy is going to take it. Just the motion portion only, Eldon.
The Parks and Recreation and Culture Committee recommend to council that council approve the tourism grant application from the East Knoll Heritage Schoolhouse Society in the amount of $1,500 and that the source of the funds will be from the tourism grant review. As vice chair of this committee, I so move.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Contrary? Motion is passed.
As vice chair of the committee, I move the adoption of this report.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Question.
Questions been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed. The next item on the agenda would be Planning Advisory Committee, Councillor Green.
Thank you, Warden. The committee held its regular meeting on June 16th, 2020, electronically via Zoom. Applications from Ettinger Funeral Home, Dean Shea, and Clayton Developments were considered. A recommendation from the Planning Advisory Committee regarding all three applications will be presented to council at the public hearing scheduled for tomorrow evening, June 25th, 2020. As chair of the committee, I move the adoption of this report.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question been called. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed. Next item would be second reading of Bylaw A101, an amendment to Bylaw A100.
Mr. Warden, I would move that council gives second reading to Bylaw A100-1, an amendment to Bylaw A-100, alternative voting bylaws. Chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed. The next item on the agenda would be second reading of Bylaw P1200, lot grading and drainage bylaw. Councillor Dixon, I believe.
Okay.
No, council.
That's Wayne, it has Councillor Green there, but
Isn't that a I&O motion?
planning. I can read it.
No, go ahead, Wayne.
Second reading bylaw P-1200, an amendment to bylaw lot grading respecting grading and drainage. Move that council give second reading to bylaw P-1200, an amendment to bylaw lot grading respecting grading and drainage. As chair of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed. I'd pass the chair over to the Deputy Warden, Perry. I don't really have a lot to say. It's been nonstop Zoom meetings, mostly trying to deal with the province and get some of the issues, some of the funding flowing, some of the election issues still is outstanding. Really, there's nothing to report. We're meeting at least once a week. The NSF board, SM board, is meeting a couple times in that time period, and just continue to work on various initiatives and try to get some communication going back and forth with the province. Tonight, we did talk to Andy Fillmore was on, and the federal government, as the NP representing the Atlantic provinces for infrastructure, had a lot of things in the works. Sounds like there's going to be some money freed up for infrastructure, and there are some specific programs that may or may not be applicable to us, but he's quite engaged, and there was some tourist money released in the last couple of days for infrastructure capital projects. I don't think we had any projects that we had in the queue, but sounds like there may be some operation money to aid restaurants to carry out their social distancing, and he said he hoped that there'd be an announcement by the end of the week. And that would conclude my report. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Seeing no questions, we'll move back to you, Warden.
Does that Eli have a question?
Oh, I didn't see the other second.
Yeah. Sorry, I was late raising my hand. Was there any discussion about the internet, like the second round, like if anybody can give us any, because in this time, you know what happened with Councillor Rhino right now, a lot of people, like, they cannot work from home, and they could look at, I have some residents here, they could look at the East Link going by their home, and they're not hooked up, so I don't think that's fair. I know we can do anything, but if we can push like the province or our MLA or something.
I did, I guess it may have been previous to last weekend, but the provincial government did do a little bit of a presentation, and we most of our areas weren't on their first round, but they're coming into to their scope now, and they were hoping to make an announcement, but I haven't seen anything yet. So.
Mr. Warden, if I may, we have been, I don't have any details, but we have been approached by a Bell representative who is working with Develop Nova Scotia on the, I guess, the extension of the internet connections through our area. So as that information becomes available, we'll certainly pass it on to you.
Thanks, Kate.
Okay.
Back to you, Deputy Warden.
Okay, is there any other further questions for the warden? Seeing none, Mr. Warden, go ahead, take over.
All right, that would bring us to business from councilors. And I'm going to start in my top right-hand screen. I think everybody's always different. So Deputy Warden Perry, I think you had a motion.
Yes, I do. I got a motion tonight coming forward. And I'll read the motion. I move that council provides the Mount Uniacke Volunteer Fire Department with a district restoration fund up to $15,000 for their boardwalk and walking trail improvement project, with the funding being allocated from District 8 District Recreation Fund, and that the funds are released pending the receipt of all supporting documentation. Background on this project is at the rear of the current fire hall, there are two boardwalks bordering on Murphy Lake that are used by the public and used for accessibility fishing, and a trail that runs from the back of the property and hooks into the Uniacke Estate trails that needs to be upgraded. And the fire department has generally taken on this to organize it and get the project completed. So they have requested funds, and I pay for it out of my district DRF funds. That's my motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Musa?
My residents also use that trail and everything, so I would like to go. We do everything half and half in Mount Uniacke, and this one should be done half and half. Thank you.
So you're amending the motion to include your district pay half the funds?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Councillor Rhino?
Yes, I assume that application, staff have that application on paper.
It's in process right now. The application, there's a land issue they have to just clarify out.
But it will follow all the regular application processes?
Yes.
And criteria. Okay. Any further discussion?
Question.
Questions been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed. Anything else, Deputy Warden?
Nope, just the last thing I was going to mention was internet. There's still a large area within District 8 that does not have internet resources, and that's been something that's been coming out as parents are preparing for kids to go off to university in the fall or resume high school and schooling. So that's going to be an ongoing issue coming into the spring. I'd also like to thank Uniacke Pizza and a group of parents that were able to hold a social distancing event to recognize the grade 9 graduation. In Mount Uniacke, our students graduate grade 9 and then get bused to Windsor for grade 11 and 12. They missed out on their little end of milestone events, and there was a nice little event held recognizing that, and was well received by the parents and members of the community that were involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Councillor McGuinness.
Thank you, Warden. Nothing this evening. Thank you.
Councillor King.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Just one thing. The proposed 520 mobile home park development for the Old Truro Road in HRM, which basically is in the Elmsdale Enfield area of HRM. I think it's tonight or tomorrow night. It's first reading at Northwest Council. This has come forward several times in the last several years. I know there's been at least 4 sets of public meetings, and I know residents on our side of the river in East Hants one of the main concerns that they had expressed was several hundred more vehicles that would be coming down onto Elmsdale Road and then in the 214, a section of road that already is quite congested. I read the HRM staff report, but I can't find reference to this. And I know that these concerns were brought up because I was at those meetings when they were brought up. So a question for staff, either now or as a follow-up, do they know how that was addressed? Probably by TIR, that extra volume of traffic coming down onto Elmsdale Road, the 214. Thank you.
I see nothing, so probably they'll get back to you if they have any information.
Thank you.
Councillor Rolston.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Green.
Thank you, Warden. Just one item, I will give regrets for the public hearing tomorrow night. I'll be taking part in the repatriation ceremony for Matt Pike. He'll be traveling from the airport to Truro, and our fire department and all other ones in East Hants are part of this journey. So anyway, just notice that there is a grad ceremony being held at the Hants North Rec Center this Saturday morning. It will be at 11 o'clock. They've got quite a little ceremony there, and social distancing will be a part of it, and parking, and it's a drive-in sort of ceremony. So if anybody would like to attend, it's open to anyone. That's all, Warden.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hebb.
Thank you, Warden. Just one piece of information is that Truro had one of their councillors pass away this week, Councillor Chisholm, and he was also a member of the Waste Management Board of the districts up there. And I just want to confirm to make sure the municipality has sent condolences to him and his family, and maybe to the council in Truro. Thank you.
Councillor Musa.
Nothing to report today. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Just a couple of quick things here. Community Rider is holding their annual general meeting this Friday morning at 9 o'clock. If anybody's interested, they can contact me. I can send you the Zoom, or you can contact the Community Rider office, Phil Lavin, and he will give you contact information. That's their annual meeting. Just an update on CCOA. They're working on dealing with the East Hants municipality on the purchase of the land. They're waiting for some geotechnical survey and environment, and then they're going to the feds for the money, and things are working out really well. As with Wayne, I will probably be late getting to the meeting tomorrow night. I'll be attending the same parade, the repatriation for Matt Pike, but I should be here, I would suspect 7 or very shortly after. That's everything I have, Mr. Warden. Oh, the only other thing is, do we have any idea of maybe when the pool might be reopening? That seems to be a popular question. I don't know if Kate can answer that, or if it's too early.
That would be Adam.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
Good evening, Council, through the Warden. Currently, all public pools are still closed, is the information we received from Public Health. So private pools, hotel pools, condo pools are able to be open. So we're waiting for word from Public Health from the province to be able to move forward with our plans. We are just finalizing our plans. So when the announcement's made, our mobilization time will be less than what it may be. So we're eager to get that facility open to the community, and we will do so as soon as we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Warden.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I just want to give a big congratulations to all our graduates here in East Hants. I know we've had many parent groups working really hard to host some type of celebration. I believe our East Hants Royal High School students are kind of in the process of doing their drop-in and grad with their immediate families. I want to thank staff for contributing to the gift bags. I know the parents were over the moon, excited about receiving those complimentary pool passes. So thank you, Adam, for making that happen, and your staff. I believe 40 businesses in East Hants contributed to those bags, and that's quite something. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to the parent groups as well, and all the best to our grads of East Hants. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Rhino.
Yeah, so I'd like to congratulate all the graduates within the municipality of East Hants for their hard work, and it's been somewhat of a difference in the graduation ceremonies, but I guess you can look at it, it'll like you're very unique. Also, Warden, has there been any talk through the Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities and the province with regard to when they may be moving that 10 bubble up to more so we can get back to a in-person council?
They certainly don't let us know in advance of any of that sort of thing, but there was discussion tonight that if the state of emergency was lifted, the ability for municipalities to have Zoom meetings would disappear with it. And if at that time we were still required to do social distancing, some units would have a hard time. They wouldn't have the space to have the meetings, and they have to move to a different location. So they were looking at alternatives, or maybe an option that people could continue with Zoom if there was social distancing in place and there was not enough room to do that in their present council chambers. It's being discussed. I have no input on when they'll give us any word on that.
So if they moved it from 10 to 50, would we be able to meet then? And without
I think that would depend
the
if,
state of emergency?
well, right now it is 50, but you have to social distancing. So it would be hard for
Yeah.
us to sit in our chamber. We wouldn't have enough room. I guess theoretically we could close the chambers off and move councilors down to some of the staff desks and possibly do it. But when that comes up, we'll have to look at it at that point. But some council chambers are older and they don't really have the room to do that social distancing. So it's all tied to whether the social distancing disappears at the same time, not really the size of the gathering.
I'm just concerned, like tonight, this is bad internet connection on my end, and I just don't want this to continue. So
Yep.
Anyway, that's why the source of my question.
I'm at the office, Keith, so as an option, maybe if it's not working there, you can come down and you'd have the chambers all to yourself. I'm in my office next door, so
Yeah, I might have to try something. Thank you.
thanks. Councillor Musa.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier that they're gonna be helping restaurant for with money for social distancing and stuff. Is there anything for municipality that we could put like probably glass between like the desks and stuff and resume the meetings over there? So there's no word about that.
None.
Thank you.
That would conclude business from councilors. The next item, I'd be looking for a motion to go in camera to discuss a legal contractual issue.
Can
Mr. Warden, if I
Yes.
could, Adam had just brought to my attention that there was one letter that was on for information of counselors that probably should have been on the decision of counselors. It's a letter from the mayor of Colchester, Christine Blair, requesting whether East Hants would like to form a joint committee consisting of the mayors, wardens, and CAOs of the affected municipalities of the tragedy in April to discuss opportunities to collaborate on a memorial. And I'm wondering if council wants to give us any direction on whether we should participate on that committee or not.
Sorry we missed that, Kim, and I meant to bring that up and I missed it, but I had talked to Tom Taggart, who is the counselor for Portapeck, and he has very strong opinions on this, and he feels that we really needed to have a strong presence in the decision. He says he's been inundated with people trying to do various different things, and he thinks a coordinated approach would be much better. And the people certainly in Portapeck have very strong views on how it should be done and where it should be done. So I at the same time, I guess I should have done that under an update, but I'd spoke to Tom about just kind of give him a prod to get the recycling going back in Colchester, and so that we could start moving our recycling in that direction instead of the direction it's going presently. But anyway, that's where we stand. I'd look for a motion that we participate in that. Council Deputy Warden Perry.
I'll move the motion as well to cooperate and collaborate. I was just wondering, was there any movement on the garbage issue for the recycling center?
He says that it's a life safety issue at the plant itself, and they're trying to overcome those issues right now, and until it's not really in his hands, but he's advocating as strongly as he can that they have to get reopened and move forward.
Okay, I'll move a motion that we engage with the other municipalities and be part of this group to see how things should go moving forward.
All right, so it's moved, and do we have a seconder? Councillor King. Councillor McGinnis, you had your hand up.
Thank you. Because it's clear that it's for mayors, wardens, and CAOs, I suppose the question is, do you as our warden and does Kim as our CAO want to participate? Because basically the invitation is for your representation on our behalf, which I'm very comfortable with, but the invitation is for you folks. So I'm just wondering if you're comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, no, I have no problem. I would think we would bring staff into it too, who are already starting to do a report that we'd done by motion earlier. So
We had, through you, Mr. Warden, we had Adam tagged for that project to lead that from a staff perspective. So he would be my representative at the committee.
okay, Councillor Rhino.
Just a question on that. I know that I think it's important to be on the committee, but would that take away from anything that possibly could be going on in Shubenacadie to honor the victims there? I know there was talk about the park, and then there was talk about doing something in our park in Milford there. And so I'm just wondering, would one trump the other, or can you answer that yet?
I mean, if a group in Shuby chooses to do a park, we have no input one way or the other to say yes or no. I would think it would impact our decision on how we move forward during those discussions. So, and I see Councillor McGinnis had her hand up. I don't know if she wants to speak.
Thank you, Warden. Just to say, and I think I sent an email that I would want that simply to be part of the discussion so that all the folks that are involved in this committee are aware. The Premier himself actually gave the Development Association permission to go ahead with this memorial park with the plans that they have in place. So where they are at this moment is they've had many offers of in-kind and materials and so on. And so what they're doing is trying to put a budget together. And I sent the plans to staff. So I think the important thing is that it's recognized as something that is moving forward, and where does it play in the scheme of things? Thank you.
Thank you. Was there any other questions?
Question?
Questions been called. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed.
So Mr. Warden, I just sent a note. There's one other issue that should probably be dealt with in open camera around the sustainability initiatives that council has undertaken discussions on in the last 2 months. In trying to figure out what is out there in preparation for the July meeting, we did receive notice today from Clean Foundation at around noon today that there is some money available for a summer internship if we wanted to bring someone on this summer to look at and research some sustainability options for the municipality. That type of work would be approved as part of an internship. They would pay 60% of the wage based on a 35-hour work week. So for 9 weeks, I believe, we would pay the other 40%, which is a few $1,000s, a couple of $1,000s. They do have some applicants, and they would actually do the hiring of the person through their payroll and just send us a bill for the 40% at the end. So if council, normally we would have budget money to do this kind of thing, and I would go ahead and probably do it. But where you're in active discussions around this topic, I wanted to make sure that you would support bringing on that kind of resource to do some of the research we're trying to get done.
I think at our last meeting, there was a lot of discussion about green initiatives. I think everybody's fairly supportive. Does someone want to make a motion to hire that intern and to be funded, Kim, where?
General wages.
General wages, okay. So I had hands up. Was that to move the motion? Wayne moved, Councillor King seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions been called. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion is passed. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Councillor.
So I'd be looking for that motion to go in camera for a contractual issue.
So moved.
Councillor McGinnis, seconded by Councillor Hebb. Kim, all staff involved in this, or?
I think I really need Sue and Jesse.
Okay,